A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News on MTV Sports, live from the News First studios in Colombo. I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Sonali Wanik-Baduki. We start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
Making headlines tonight, the Norachole power plant still at a standstill. Minister Champika Ranawaka says he is not satisfied with the power plant. An enjoining order issued preventing those appointed to the National Lawyers Association from carrying out their duties. 100 meters Olympic champion Anne Fraser defeated by USA's Allyson Felix in the women's 200 meters event.
On to the news in detail. The Ministry of Power and Energy says that efforts are being made to resume operations at the Norachole power plant. A communique issued by the ministry states that until the power plant is fully restored, power cuts lasting 2 hours and 15 minutes will affect several areas in the island tomorrow as well.
The power cuts will affect 58 main towns in 4 phases. Power cuts will take place from 8:30 am to 10:15 am, 10:15 am to 1 pm, 1 pm to 3:15 pm and 3:15 pm to 5:30 pm. The Norachole power plant had shut down suddenly due to mineral deposits on the power line from Norachole to Wayangoda. According to the ministry, the Lakvijaya power plant had shut down automatically. We were able to supply electricity without any disruption due to this power plant. However, minerals have been deposited in the power lines. It was when we were attempting to clean these power lines that the system shut down. We hope to rectify this situation, but we can't point a finger at 1 or 2 individuals. Around 20 to 25% of generation capacity has been halted due to the hydro reservoirs drying up. Accordingly, 75 to 80% of electricity is generated using thermal power plants. Of this, around 16 to 20% was generated from the Lakvijaya power plant. The Lakvijaya power plant was shut down on the 24th of last month as well, and various locations experienced a 2-hour power cut on 2 days. Since its opening in March last year, the power station has been inoperative for 135 days. This year alone, it has been shut down 3 times. If the plant operates for 1 month, it will be shut down for 2 months. It is a crisis situation. All the workers at the plant underwent over 6 months of training at power plants in China. When we questioned them as to how old the power plants were, they said that they were more than 25 to 40 years old. They said that those power plants had to be shut down only for a few hours and not for a long period. These workers suspect that there is an issue with regard to the quality of this power plant. The Norachole power plant is always breaking down. The UNP said all along that this power plant was constructed in the wrong place and that the Chinese equipment was of a low standard. We predicted it would break down over and over again. But they went ahead and spent more than $360 million to build it as if it were their ancestral money. We can't be satisfied with the standards. It was not built in the proper place. It was to be built in Trincomalee. It wasn't constructed in the correct time frame as well, and we couldn't obtain proper technology. Previously, a power plant of international standards was to be built here in 1997, but this could not be implemented. It was at this time that the Chinese government came forward and offered this, but the technological aspects have not yet been fulfilled. But with the present drought, this plant has come in handy for us. We cannot supply power for 24 hours without this plant.
මේ ලයිට් කැපීමෙන් අපිට වැඩ කරගන්න විදියකුත් නැහැ බිල්ලා අත්වශයෙන්ම අපි සේවකයන්ට වැඩක් නැති වෙනවා ලයිට් කැපීම නිසා
සැලුන් එකේ මැෂින් අරවා මේව වැඩ කරනවා ඕවා නැත්තම් කඩවල් වහන්න තමයි සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ
ඒ සුළු ව්‍යාපාරියෝ අපිට දැන් 3 පාරක් කරන්ට් එක ගියා ඒ තාමත් කනගාටුපත් වෙනවා ඇයි අපි දාවේල කීයක් කළා ගන්න මිනිස්සු
දැන්ට තියෙන වාර්තාව අනුව සැප්තැම්බර් අවසාන වෙනකම් වර්ෂාව නැහැයි කියන එකයි.
According to reports, we will not receive rain until end of September. Accordingly, a committee has been appointed to look into the water resources we could use for drinking purposes and to generate power and submit a report.
බන්ද වාර්තාවක් ලබන කැබිනට් එකට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නයි කියලා.
Has this power plant been shut down due to a technical issue?
නෑ කාර්මික දෝෂයක් තිබ්බා. නමුත්
there was a technical problem, but it is not the case at present.
කාර්මික දෝෂ නෙමෙයි. කාර්මික දෝෂය අනිවාර්යයෙන් තිබුණා.
But the problem is that the Norachole power plant is continuously breaking down.
නෑ
no, that was rectified.
නෑ
I was not aware of yesterday's problem. Any equipment needs to be shut down in order to be maintained. In case of an emergency, when plants are shut down, there should be excess power generation to compensate for it so that the people would not be affected. We need to think about nuclear power plants.
Well, on a related note, the deputy leader of the United National Party, Sajith Premadasa, says that apart from a power and energy mafia, several other mafias have also been created in the country. Now, the parliamentarian made this observation during an event in Rakwana today.
Minister Champika Ranawaka says there is a power and energy mafia. What he is saying is true. There is a power and energy mafia. Not only that, the government has created several other mafias in the country. The substandard diesel mafia, the substandard petrol mafia, the substandard aircraft fuel mafia, the substandard medicine mafia, the substandard cement mafia are all creations of the government.
The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says that all stocks of fuel imported to the country will be subjected to tests at both the Sapugaskanda and Kolon Naval labs prior to unloading. Issuing a media release, the Ministry of Petroleum Industries says that this decision had been reached by Minister Susil Premajayantha. Accordingly, stocks of fuel arriving in the country will be required to be approved by both laboratories in Sapugaskanda and Kolon Naval prior to being unloaded. The release also notes that when issuing fuel to thermal power stations, an additional certificate will have to be obtained from the relevant power station.
In other local news, the Supreme Court has decided to examine 4 petitions which claim that students have been disadvantaged due to the non-implementation of the Supreme Court order regarding the Z-scores of last year's GCE advanced level examination. Now, this decision was taken after considering these petitions before a bench comprising of Chief Justice Dr. Shirani Bandaranayake and Justices Nimal Gamini Amaratunga and K. Sri Pavan. More than 350 petitions have been filed.
The petitioners pointed out that they have not been able to enter universities because the University Grants Commission failed to implement the Supreme Court order. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has also granted leave to proceed to a petition filed by a group of students claiming that they were deprived of university entrance following the recalculation of EZ scores. This petition was filed by 23 students. The Chief Justice stated that the EZ scores that were first issued were void and illegal. However, she said that the petition will be considered on sympathetic grounds. Meanwhile, the lawyer representing the University Grants Commission, President's Counsellor Faiz Mustafa, informed court that students will not be admitted to university until a final decision has been taken regarding the petitions.
The Joint Unemployed Graduates Union launched a demonstration opposite the Fort Railway Station this afternoon to protest against the non-recruitment of graduates who passed out in 2010-2011.
Although the protesters attempted to march to the Presidential Secretariat, they were prevented from doing so by the police. Following a heated argument, a group of representatives of the unemployed graduates were allowed to enter the Presidential Secretariat for a short discussion.
Even though we wanted to hold discussions with either the Secretary to the President or a recognized officer from the Finance Ministry, it was an officer of no importance that held discussions with us. She promised us that she will convey our message to the President and that he would provide a solution.
Now, the Colombo District Court issued an enjoining order today preventing those appointed by UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe and the party's working committee to the National Lawyers Association from carrying out their duties. Now, the order was issued when a petition filed by former UNP parliamentarian, Attorney-at-Law Mahin Gunasekara, was taken up for consideration. On the 27th of November 2009, the National Lawyers Association adopted a new constitution and a new set of office bearers were unanimously elected. According to the president of the National Lawyers Association, Upul Jayasekara, the working committee of the UNP, headed by leader Ranil Wickremesinghe, had taken steps to appoint Tilak Marapana, Srinath Pereira, Gauri Thavarasa and Ronald Pereira as the new office bearers of the National Lawyers Association. However, the Colombo District Court issued an enjoining order today preventing those officials from taking up office when a petition filed in this regard by Attorney-at-Law Mahen Gunasekara was taken up for consideration.
After the lawyers submitted the facts regarding the appointments, the order was issued.
This enjoining order was issued even before 24 hours had lapsed after the Mount Lavinia District Court issued an enjoining order preventing the working committee from implementing its decision to extend the United National Party leader's tenure to 6 years. UNP lawyers point out that due to the failure of the party leadership as well as its arbitrary decisions, a large number of party seniors have already deserted the party. They opine that as a result of this, the party is suffering defeat after defeat. They also note that the current party leader continues to amend the party constitution in order to stay in power. Attorney-at-Law Upul Jayasekara points out that through the intervention of party activists and the supremacy of the law, such attempts to cling on to power are now being foiled. Unknown individuals who have never shown any affiliation towards the party are now in the working committee. The party leadership is attempting to control the party through these individuals. They are attempting to control the party by violating the constitution in an undemocratic manner. They have appointed their close associates to positions within the party leadership. They have even included their friends in the national list. A question has arisen as to whether the leader who led this party to numerous defeats can be allowed to remain.
මෙච්චර අවුරුදු ගානක් තිස්සේ පරද්දපු මේ පක්ෂයේ පරද්දපු මේ නායකවරයා තවදුරටත් මෙතන තියාගෙන දිනන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන ප්‍රශ්නය ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා.
මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාව අමුවේ සෑම අවස්ථාවකම රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා.
The court order has made it clear that Ranil Wickremesinghe continuously violates the party constitution. We need to tell the public that he is not a democratic leader. He is a dictator. If he is given control of the country, he will become someone like Idi Amin, Mussolini or Hitler.
මුසොලිනි වගේ හිට්ලර් වගේ තත්වයක් මේ රටේ ඇති වෙනවයි කියන එකත් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න ඕන.
Well, before moving on to other news, let's take a look at some news from the Supreme House of Legislation. United National Party parliamentarian Ravi Karunanayake questioned the House on the annual payment for cricketers since 2010 and several other issues surrounding the sport today. Now, the Minister of Sports, Mahinda Nandalut Gamage, responded.
When selections are made, how many players are paid? How many players are being paid every year? For how long is the contract?
We had 100 last year. This time we reduced the number to 75.
Minister, do you think that the best team was selected and they have been paid based on their performance?
We are not satisfied with the current mechanism adopted by Sri Lanka cricket. We are the best paymasters in the world. We pay 60% of our income. Hence, we have now focused our attention to compile a special report. We are now examining this process. Sri Lanka cricket is not focusing on developing the game, but focusing its attention on the associations that have the voting power to elect office bearers. 800 cricketers are being maintained by us. This system is wrong. Hence, by later this year, we will implement a program that will transform this system completely. We will speak to the players, the associations on their payments and will make changes accordingly.